The Galactic Fitness Center on Station Omega-7 was a monument to alien physical prowess, its gleaming titanium walls echoing with the sounds of incredible feats of strength. The facility attracted the galaxy's most formidable species, towering Chthari warriors with their four muscular arms, silicon-based Vorthok whose rocky hides could withstand planetary pressure, and the insectoid Zephyrians whose lightning-fast reflexes made them blur when they moved. The scent of ozone and exotic atmosphere processors filled the air, while holographic displays showed workout statistics that would have impressed Olympic athletes from a dozen worlds. Massive weight plates made from condensed neutron star material sat stacked like coins, and the gravity generators hummed with the power to simulate conditions from gas giant surfaces to asteroid mining colonies. Into this temple of alien athleticism walked Marcus Rodriguez. At 6 feet tall, with a stocky, unremarkable build, the human looked like a child's toy compared to the magnificent beings around him. His simple workout clothes and basic gym bag seemed almost quaint next to the advanced training suits and biomonitoring equipment the aliens wore. Every conversation stopped mid-sentence as hundreds of alien eyes, compound, multifaceted, and glowing, fixed on the newcomer. The silence stretched uncomfortably as Marcus approached the reception desk, where a blue-skinned Aquarian named Flux managed the facility. The being's gill slits fluttered nervously, a sign that even the staff found his presence unusual. "Greetings," Marcus said with a polite smile. "I'd like to purchase a membership, please." Flux's large, dark eyes studied the human with barely concealed bewilderment. "Are you certain about this, human? This facility is designed for species with significant physical capabilities. Perhaps you'd find the recreational center on Deck 12 more suitable for your needs." The suggestion carried no malice, but the underlying message was clear. This wasn't a place for fragile beings. Marcus maintained his friendly demeanor. "I appreciate the concern, but I think I'll manage just fine here." After a moment's hesitation, Flux processed the membership with professional efficiency. "Very well. However, I must insist you remain in the beginner sections. Our equipment operates at intensities that could be dangerous for less robust physiologies." As Marcus headed toward the locker rooms, a symphony of whispers erupted in his wake. The Chthari rumbled their deep, bass conversations about the amusing spectacle they were about to witness. The Zephyrians' rapid clicking suggested they were taking bets on how quickly the human would injure himself. Even the usually stoic Vorthok seemed to shift their rocky forms with what might have been anticipation. The consensus was unanimous across every species present. This soft-skinned, single-hearted creature was about to provide them with the most entertaining workout disaster they'd seen in cycles. Marcus emerged from the locker room wearing simple black shorts and a gray t-shirt, his basic attire standing in stark contrast to the advanced biosuits and environmental gear the aliens wore. The main workout floor stretched before him like a cathedral of iron and energy, with sections designated for different atmospheric conditions and gravity levels. Towering machines hummed with power, their surfaces gleaming under the artificial sunlight that bathed the facility. Atmospheric processors created microclimates throughout the gym. One section maintained the high-pressure environment preferred by the Vorthok, while another replicated the thin, oxygen-rich atmosphere of the Zephyrian homeworld. Marcus started with what appeared to be a treadmill, though it was clearly designed for the 8-legged arachnoids. The machine's quantum processors immediately detected his bipedal gait and adjusted accordingly, extending platforms and recalibrating the belt speed. He began with a light jog, his movements fluid and controlled. Nearby, a group of Chthari were engaged in what could only be described as a display of raw power. Their leader, a battle-scarred warrior named Throck, was bench-pressing a bar loaded with plates of compressed neutron star material. The weight registered at 800 pounds on the holographic display, yet Throck's 4 arms moved it with mechanical precision. "Careful there, little mammal." Throck's voice rumbled like distant thunder, making the nearby equipment vibrate. His reptilian features twisted into what might have been amusement. That's 400 kilograms of pure Vorthok steel. One of those plates could flatten your entire rib cage. Marcus nodded respectfully, never breaking his steady pace. That's an impressive lift. How long have you been training? 30 cycles, Throck replied, adding another massive plate to the already groaning bar. This is merely warm-up weight for a Krithari warrior. We're genetically engineered for strength, unlike your delicate species. Everyone's built differently, Marcus said diplomatically, maintaining his rhythm. Different strengths for different purposes. Throck's mandibles clicked with what the humans had learned was Krithari laughter. Indeed, your purpose seems to be entertainment. The other patrons had begun to gather, forming a loose circle around the human. They watched with barely concealed anticipation as Marcus moved to the free weights section, expecting to witness a spectacular failure. The lightest dumbbells available were calibrated for Zephyrian physiology, still 50 pounds each by human standards. Marcus selected a pair and began performing simple bicep curls with perfect form. The crowd's excitement deflated like a punctured atmosphere suit. This was going to be disappointingly mundane. The alien's boredom evaporated when Marcus moved to the squat rack. The massive apparatus was constructed from reinforced durasteel, designed to handle the tremendous forces generated by the galaxy's strongest species. Warning labels in 17 languages cautioned about proper safety protocols and maximum load capacities. Marcus loaded the bar with what appeared to be a modest amount of weight. 135 pounds by human standards, practically nothing compared to the multi-ton loads the aliens routinely handled. Several Zephyrians clicked their mandibles in what their species considered polite laughter, while the Vorthok's rocky hides shifted to deeper shades of gray, a sign of mild amusement. Then Marcus began his workout routine, and everything changed. The first 10 squats looked normal enough. Perfect form, controlled movement, steady breathing. But Marcus didn't stop at 10, or 20, or 50. Set after set, rep after rep, he continued with mechanical precision that would have impressed a factory assembly line. His breathing remained controlled and rhythmic, never showing the slightest sign of distress. His form stayed flawless, knees tracking properly, back straight, full range of motion. The bar moved up and down like a piston in a perfectly calibrated engine. 20 minutes passed, then 30. The entire gym had gone silent, except for the rhythmic sound of Marcus's breathing and the soft clink of the weights. He had completed over 300 repetitions without pause, sweat beading on his forehead but his pace never faltering. "Impossible," whispered Zyke, a Zephyrian whose compound eyes were perfectly adapted to track the fastest movements in the galaxy. His muscle fibers should have failed cycles ago. How is he maintaining that metabolic output? The Krithari had completely abandoned their own workouts to stare. Even the Vorthok, whose silicon-based physiology made them nearly emotionless, seemed to lean forward with interest. Throck's forearms flexed unconsciously as he watched the display. "Endurance is for prey animals," he rumbled, though his voice lacked its earlier confidence. "True strength comes from raw power." Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Marcus racked the bar. He wiped sweat from his brow and took a long drink from his water bottle, appearing only mildly winded despite the incredible display of persistence. Throck approached, his reptilian features twisted with a mixture of confusion and wounded pride. "Human, you've shown impressive stamina, but let's see how you handle real weight." Marcus looked up at the towering Krithari warrior. "What did you have in mind?" "A friendly competition," Throck's mandibles clicked with predatory anticipation. "We'll see who can lift the most. When you fail, and you will fail, perhaps you'll understand why this gym isn't meant for your kind." The challenge spread through the gym like a quantum pulse, rippling outward as beings abandoned their workouts to witness what promised to be either a spectacular display or a catastrophic failure. Within minutes, a crowd had formed around the deadlift platform, and bets were being placed in currencies from across the galaxy. The consensus was unanimous. The human was about to learn a very painful lesson about galactic power hierarchies. Throck led Marcus to the deadlift platform, a reinforced section of the gym floor constructed from compressed neutronium and surrounded by emergency medical stations. The platform itself could withstand the impact of a small asteroid designed to handle the tremendous forces generated when the galaxy's strongest species tested their limits. The barbell was a masterpiece of engineering, a dense metal alloy forged in the heart of a dying star, capable of supporting several tons without the slightest bend or flex. Safety protocols automatically activated around the platform, creating an energy barrier to protect spectators from potential catastrophic failure. "We'll start with something manageable," Throck announced to the eager crowd, his voice carrying the confidence of someone who had never met his match. "Standard deadlift. Whoever lifts the most weight claims victory. I'll demonstrate proper technique for our inexperienced friend." The Krathari warrior began loading the bar with plates that looked like small planets. Each one weighed 200 pounds, but Throck handled them like dinner plates. The holographic display tracked the ascending numbers: 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 pounds. The assembled aliens murmured their approval. This was a respectable weight that would challenge even the strongest among them. With practiced precision, Throck positioned all 4 of his arms on the bar. His reptilian features contorted with concentration as he set his stance. Powerful legs spread wide, his armored hide rippling with barely contained strength. The gym fell silent, except for the hum of gravity generators and the soft whisper of atmospheric processors. With a roar that shook the station's bulkheads, Throck pulled. The enormous weight rose from the platform like it was being lifted by industrial machinery. The bar climbed steadily until he stood fully upright, holding 1,500 pounds of death metal as easily as a human might hold a briefcase. The crowd erupted in cheers that could be heard 3 decks away. Zephyrians clicked their approval, Vorthak rumbled their stone-grinding equivalent of applause, and even the typically reserved Aquarians fluttered their gills in excitement. "Your turn, human," Throck said, setting the weight down with a crash that registered on the station's seismic sensors. Marcus approached the loaded bar with the casual confidence of someone examining a piece of familiar equipment. The assembled aliens leaned forward in anticipation, their various sensory organs focused on what promised to be the most entertaining workout disaster in recent galactic history. "Actually," Marcus said, beginning to remove the massive plates from the bar, "I'm going to need to adjust this a bit." The crowd's murmurs turned to outright laughter. Of course, the fragile human needed to reduce the weight. They were surprised he didn't remove all of it and ask for training wheels. But Marcus stopped at 675 pounds. Still a respectable weight by any standard, but nothing compared to the mountain of metal Throck had just conquered. The holographic display updated to show the new total, and several aliens shook their heads in what might have been pity. "Interesting strategy," Throck mused, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "Starting with something you can actually lift. Very wise, little mammal." Marcus stepped up to the bar, his simple workout clothes looking almost ceremonial in the dramatic lighting of the platform. He gripped the bar with both hands, just 2 hands, the aliens noted with further amusement, and took a deep breath. What happened next would be discussed in galactic gymnasiums for generations to come. Marcus didn't just lift the weight. The bar exploded upward with a velocity that made the Zephyrians' lightning-fast reflexes seem sluggish by comparison. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was what came next. Without pausing, without setting the weight down, without even a moment's rest, Marcus immediately began performing repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4. The gym fell silent except for the rhythmic clang of the plates and Marcus's controlled breathing. This wasn't just strength. This was a display of muscular endurance that defied every law of physics, biology, and common sense the aliens thought they understood. 10, 15, 20. "Impossible," Zik whispered, his compound eyes tracking every movement with scientific precision. The metabolic cost alone should have collapsed his cardiovascular system. 25, 30. Throck's forearms hung slack at his sides, his reptilian features frozen in disbelief. He couldn't perform 30 repetitions at 675 pounds. None of them could. Hell, he wasn't sure he could manage 30 repetitions at half that weight. 40, 45, 50. Marcus finally set the bar down, barely breathing hard despite the incredible display. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity before he spoke, his voice carrying easily through the stunned gymnasium. "You know what's funny?" Marcus said, casually adding more weight to the bar. "That wasn't even my working weight. I was just warming up." The crowd parted like liquid metal as Marcus methodically added more weight to the bar. 800 pounds, 1,000, 1,200. Each plate landed with a resonant clang that echoed through the suddenly cathedral-quiet gymnasium. The holographic display tracked the ascending numbers with digital precision, while emergency medical teams quietly moved into position. "The thing about humans," Marcus said conversationally, testing his grip on the bar, "is that we're not built for single moments of peak performance. We're evolutionary specialists in persistence, in endurance, in simply refusing to give up." He settled into his stance with the fluid grace of someone who had performed this movement thousands of times. The assembled aliens held their collective breath, their various respiratory systems synchronizing in anticipation. "We're built to chase our prey across continents until it collapses from exhaustion. We're designed to survive in environments that would kill most species within hours. We're engineered by millions of years of evolution to keep going when everything else has surrendered." Marcus gripped the bar with both hands, his knuckles whitening slightly as he prepared for the lift. The energy barrier around the platform hummed with increased intensity, responding to the potential forces about to be unleashed. "And sometimes," he said, pulling the 1,200 pounds of compressed metal with the same mechanical precision he'd shown with the lighter weight, "that evolutionary advantage makes us a lot stronger than we appear." The bar rose smoothly, steadily, without the slightest tremor or hesitation. Marcus held it for a moment at the top, the massive weight seeming to defy gravity itself, before setting it down with controlled precision. Word of the impossible demonstration spread through Station Omega-7 faster than a quantum transmission. Within an hour, the Galactic Fitness Center was packed beyond capacity with beings from every species aboard the station. Scientists, soldiers, diplomats, traders, and even the station's command staff crowded in to witness what could only be described as a paradigm shift in their understanding of human physiology. Marcus, seemingly oblivious to the sensation he'd caused, had moved on to other exercises. He was currently performing pull-ups on a bar designed for the massive Goliath species, his comparatively small frame looking insignificant against the reinforced durasteel. But he wasn't just doing a few pull-ups. He was performing hundreds of them, maintaining perfect form while engaging in casual conversation with the awestruck aliens gathering below. His breathing remained controlled, his movements fluid, as if he were simply warming up for the real workout to come. The galaxy's understanding of human capabilities had just been permanently rewritten. "The key," Marcus explained to Dr. Vorthak Prime, a renowned xenobiologist whose rocky hide had shifted to brilliant copper, a sign of extreme intellectual excitement, "is understanding that human muscle fibers are fundamentally different from yours. We have a higher ratio of slow twitch fibers, which means we can maintain moderate force output for extended periods without cellular breakdown." The distinguished scientist's crystalline voice resonated with fascination. "But the energy requirements should be astronomical. How do you maintain glucose homeostasis during such extended exertion?" "Well," Marcus said, transitioning smoothly from pull-ups to hanging leg raises without missing a beat in the conversation, "we're also remarkably efficient at metabolizing multiple fuel sources, glucose, lipids, even proteins in extreme situations. Our bodies are essentially biological perpetual motion machines, designed to keep functioning no matter what. Throck, who had remained uncharacteristically silent since the deadlift demonstration, finally found his voice. But why? What evolutionary pressure could have possibly created such relentless persistence? Marcus dropped down from the bar, landing with cat-like silence despite the considerable height. His breathing remained steady, as if the hundreds of pull-ups had been nothing more than a gentle stretch. "We're persistence hunters," he explained, wiping sweat from his forehead with a simple towel. "Back on Earth, our ancestors would select a target, maybe a mammoth, a deer, or even larger predators, and simply follow it. For hours, sometimes for days across vast distances." He gestured toward the assembled crowd, his voice carrying easily through the hushed gymnasium. The prey would sprint away in terror. We'd walk steadily behind. It would run until its lungs burned. We'd jog at a comfortable pace. Eventually, after exhausting every escape strategy, every burst of speed, every desperate attempt to lose us, it would collapse from total system failure. And we'd calmly walk up and finish what we'd started. The silence that followed was profound and unsettling. Every predator species in the galaxy relied on overwhelming speed, crushing strength, or perfectly executed ambush tactics. The concept of simply outlasting your prey through methodical, unstoppable pursuit was alien to them in the most literal sense possible. Zook's mandibles clicked with what might have been primal fear. "That's absolutely terrifying." Marcus shrugged with characteristic human nonchalance. "It's just biology in action. Speaking of which, I should probably continue my workout routine. I've got about 3 more hours left to complete today's session." 3 more. The implications hit every alien present simultaneously. This wasn't Marcus showing off or pushing his limits. This was just a normal Tuesday workout for a human.